Spell cards are differentiated from monster cards visually by having green borders. Compared to monster cards, spell cards are often considered faster since spells can be activated during either main phase of the player's turn. Some of the most powerful and iconic cards from the Duel Monsters era are spells, due to the speed of effect and overall utility. Now, on to the breakdown. Information previously covered will be described in less detail in this segment. For more information, see the video in the card. Name. Name serves the same function as card name in monster cards, with the key function of a card's name being involvement with archetypes. Spell icon. Instead of the attribute symbol, all spell cards have the spell icon with the kanji for magic. Older TCG cards bear the word magic, which is a better translation of magiku. This change was made due to legal issues with Wizards of the Coast, and OCG cards are still called magic cards. In the TCG, old magic cards are treated identical to spells and gameplay. Spell card. Instead of a level, spells contain the line which has the words spell card. Compared to monsters, which are limited to one normal summon per turn, there is no limit to the number of spells which can be used in a turn. The only restriction on most spells is that they can only be activated during the main phase of the player's turn, with the exception of quick play spells. Spell type. Spells are divided into 6 categories. Normal spells, which lack an icon. Continuous spells, which are denoted by an infinity sign. Equip spells, denoted by a plus sign. Quick play spells, denoted by a lightning bolt. Field spells, denoted by what the wiki says is a compass rose, but is actually the symbol of Saradomin. And ritual spells, denoted by a flaming torch. Types of spells will be covered in a bit more detail later. Artwork. Artwork serves no purpose on gameplay, but the creative liberty of displaying magic allows for some of the most beautiful artwork in the game. Change of Heart is one of my personal favorites of the old school artworks. Set number. Set number is still only useful for cataloging purposes. An interesting note is that limited edition or first edition cards used to have the tag on the same line, but at some point, the edition status was moved to the bottom of the card, next to the card number. Effect text. Spells have varied effects, with some also having costs as well as conditions. The punctuation and exact wording determines whether the effects activate simultaneously or sequentially. Analysis of conditions, cost, timing, and the difference between ignition, triggered, and quick effects will be covered in Advanced Anatomy. Normal spells generally have their effect, but continuous, equip, and even field spells may have additional effects beyond their initial effect upon activation. Card number. On spells, card number again is not involved in gameplay in the least. Next! 1996 Kazuki Takahashi. Kazuki Takahashi is the creator of the game, but did not illustrate nor design every card personally. The lack of illustrator credit is a bit contentious, although credit to the game creation is still due to Kazuki Takahashi. The holographic seal bears the symbol of the Eye of Anubis, which is separate from the Eye of Horus. Note the difference between the Millennium Eye and the Millennium Puzzle. Spell types. Normal spells are the baseline for spell cards, somewhat akin to normal monsters being the baseline for other monster types. Continuous spells. Continuous spells remain on the field after activation, although a tiny subset of normal spells remain on the field after activation for a specified number of turns, with the obvious example being Swords of Revealing Light. For those coming from Magic the Gathering, continuous spells are most similar to enchantments which sit on the battlefield. Some continuous spells have 2 types of effects, one which happens upon activation, while a continuous, triggered, or quick effect may also be included. Equip spells. Equip spells are unique as they require a suitable monster to equip to. Most equip spells can be equipped to a monster on either side of the board, but generally equip cards have a positive benefit on the equipped monster. For example, Axe of Despair is best used on a friendly monster, while Germ Infection is best used on an opponent's monster. Equip spells are comparable to auras or enchant creature cards in other games. Quick play spells. Quick play spells lack the restriction to use in the main phase shared by all other spell cards, ignoring Curse of Fiend because the anime is weird. From the moment a quick play spell is drawn during the turn player's draw phase, it can be activated. Quick play spells are spell speed 2, which means they can be activated in response to other cards. Additionally, if a quick play spell is first set, It can then be activated during the opponent's turn in response to card effects. Card speed and effect leads to a conversation far beyond the scope of this video, perhaps an advanced anatomy segment one day. Field spells. In the beginning, field spells were cards which affected both players, transforming the landscape of the battlefield and terraforming the terrain. Gradually, field spells became less symmetrical, starting with Yami, which increases the attack of all fiend and spellcaster monsters, while decreasing the attack of all fairy-type monsters. The effect was symmetrical, but strategic use in the deck-building phase could allow for a small advantage from the symmetric effect. Later, cards like Gates of the Dark World were printed, which offered a symmetrical effect being the attack increase for all fiend-type monsters, but also an ignition effect to banish, discard, and draw. Ultimately, cards like Dragon's Ravine were printed, which offered no benefit to the opponent, and instead the option of 2 beneficial effects for the card's owner. Ritual spells. Ritual spells serve a function similar to polymerization, as being required to perform a particular variant of special summon. Ritual spells can be specific, such as Blackluster Ritual, or generic, such as Advanced Ritual Art, or sometimes specifying a pool of targets, such as Gishki Aquamirror. Ritual spells allow for very powerful main deck monsters to be summoned, but with heavy limitations. But what if you could ritual summon at any time? Tune in next week for cards which can be activated as responses.